Right, welcome everyone. It's Monday, Monday. And I'm recovering still. My energy's like so low right now. I took a group down to Peru last week. And it was a ritual retreat. So I actually didn't do a lot of yoga. Hi, that's okay. And I'm glad I didn't plan it to be a yoga retreat. One of the main reasons I didn't plan it to be a yoga retreat is we weren't staying at a yoga retreat center. We were bouncing around 3 different cities. And so we were staying in hotels, and I knew we may not have space. And it actually worked out perfectly because it was also the lunar eclipse last week. And so we did more rituals. We did a ritual almost daily. We did an opening ceremony with a ritual where we would all become interconnected. We created these little bracelets with a charm of a tree of life. And we worked with the shaman with a ritual the next day. Funny enough, I woke up the next day and I couldn't meditate. I was having a hard time meditating. I don't know if it was the altitude or the excitement. But I decided, well, I can't meditate, I'll just pray. And I was just praying for everyone's protection. And the ironic thing was, when we went up to the mountain and met the shaman, I didn't know what kind of ritual he was going to do with us, and he did a protection ritual. So we had a lot of synchronicities happening almost daily, not just me, but some of the other people in the group. So that was really cool. In fact, another kind of symbolic thing that happened, the second day at Machu Picchu, when we went to climb up the mountain, the one that you see in the photographs, and it looks like it's straight up mountain, and it feels that way. You're not hiking, you're pretty much climbing and crawling up that mountain using your hands and feet. And at the very top of the mountain, I looked down at my phone, so I was going to take a picture, and it was 11:11 on the dot. And we had a lot of just really synchronistic moments. We felt like we were really being supported on this journey that we did. And I celebrated my 50th birthday while I was there. And it was a lot of fun. Something that I learned about the Inca culture. So the Inca civilization are the ones who actually established Machu Picchu years and years ago. And it was abandoned at some point when the Spanish had come in and was trying to colonize Peru, or whatever the area was called at that time. And something that we learned was there was a lot of shamanic principles with the Inca culture. And you may or may not know this, but the roots of yoga actually began with shamanism as well. And in shamanism, they really look to nature and they really look at the elements, right? So even in our chakra system, you'll see they join up with earth, water, fire, air, ether, light, different ones. Well, in the Inca culture, they looked at the 4 different directions: north, connecting to earth; south, connecting to fire, transformation; the east is air, new beginnings; and the west is healing waters. So that's the direction you would turn to for any type of healing rituals. So we knew this about the culture, but they also schooled us on, they believe in the lower world, middle world, and upper world. And their lower world is represented by a snake. The middle world represented by a puma, because that's one of the animals that lives up in the mountain. And the condor is kind of like a massive vulture, represented the upper world. So any type of birds are always going to symbolize the messages between the earth and the heavens, or between humanity and the divine. We actually were able to go climb a new mountain that's been opened up for tourists called Rainbow Mountain. And all these different minerals and sediments actually create all the different designs and colors in the mountainside. But that mountain is at 17,000 feet. And it's the same height as the base camp of Mount Everest. And that's the one that took me down. The first few mountains you climbed, no problem. You felt the altitude, you felt out of breath, but it was manageable. But that last one was a doozy. and I was shaking and my blood pressure dropped and I got a massive headache, and it took me a few hours to recover once I came back down to a lower altitude. But in that place, Rainbow Mountain, the weather could change so quickly too. So when we reached the top of the mountain, the person I was with, it was actually very windy, but pretty warm. And you're only supposed to stay up there 30 minutes because of the altitude, and then you need to come back down. And we stayed up there about half an hour for the hikers to join us. And by the time they joined us, the clouds rolled in and all this fog came in, and then it started sleet. And going down the mountain, there was no sleet. It wasn't cold. It was so bizarre. But anyway, Peru is a magical place to go. Highly suggest you go if you've never been before. The last thing I'll say about it is we're going to be bringing these elements into our practice today. Machu Picchu is actually in a cloud forest. And so you see the clouds rolling in, and as you're climbing the mountain, you are literally with the clouds and sometimes even above the clouds. And it was magical to see. So I just wanted to give you some of that imagery because we're going to be using some of these poses in the mix, and you can be contemplative with that as we go through our practice. So let's actually start in a restorative pose. Let's begin in a back bend and grab your blocks as well. We're going to bring the soles of the feet to meet, and we'll place the blocks under the thighs and let the head rest on the prop. Notice when you roll back over the bolster, you get a little bit more expansive in your belly. A little bit more expansive across your chest, especially if you turn your palms open. And go ahead and close and rest your eyes. And then just notice the openness of your airway. How much air is actually coming in through your nose and entering into your lungs. And if you're in a fairly relaxed state, and if you're not controlling the breath, you'll notice it may be quite minimal. We are fortunate to be at the altitude we are above sea level, where we can openly breathe, where our breath is not restricted, where altitude is not an issue. So become the driver of your breath and begin taking deeper sips of breath. Feel your lungs up as much as you can as you inhale, and allow them to empty as you exhale. And let these deep diaphragmatic breaths help to replenish your mind, body, spirit. Let these deep conscious breaths tune you in to your higher self, so that you can listen to some intuitive guidance when we start to move the body. Take a moment to gaze in and up into your mind's eye, as if you were looking towards the peak of a mountain or towards the horizon. When we have our drishti set here at the mind's eye, and as we're breathing slowly and deeply, we're actually helping to direct the energy to this energy center. And this energy center is responsible for foresight, insights, epiphanies, enlightening moments, intuition. So I encourage you, anytime your eyes are closed, to have your drishti set. This will also help to bring about more mental clarity. It can move any brain fog out of the mind. Let's take about 7 more breaths. And feel free to count each breath one by one till you arrive to 7. Once you arrive to your 7, feel free to contract your inner thighs, to pull the knees up and back together again. Roll over to your right side body, that allots more physical space for the heart. Push down through your left hand to come up. And then once you come up, you're going to sit on the edge of your bolster. So turn your bolster the other way. And when you stack on top of it, scoot your sits bones to the edge, let your knees cascade down, and bring your palms together and your heart onto the yoga. And then from here, lace up your fingers together, extend your arms out in front of you. And then inhale, lift the arms above you. And try to straighten out through your arms and elbows as much as you can. Feel how it opens up your side ribs, how it slightly creates a little concave area in the upper part of the belly. Palms reaching upwards, sits bones settling downward. Good, and then as you exhale, you're gonna lower your left hand to the floor. You're gonna turn your right palm to face down, pouring over to this side of the room. And we're opening up the right side body, which is like the solar panel. And cup a hold of the back side of your head with your hand and gently begin to roll open through your chest. Pivoting your heart center a little bit more skyward. Making the breath very dynamic. And then inhale, draw yourself back up to the top. Re-lift your left hand, lace up your fingers, roll the wrist skyward. Again, settling into your seats. And then as you exhale, let your right hand fall down to the floor and let your left palm spin face down. Are you okay there, Debbie? I'll bring you a bolster. Thank you. And then as you're stretching to this side of the room, noticing how you're opening up the left side body, what we call the lunar panel. And remembering we're right in the middle of the eclipse season. We had the lunar eclipse last week. We're going to have the solar eclipse on Sunday. And this can be a pretty intense time. A portal for new beginnings, shocking endings, Revelations, revolutions. And then inhale, come back up to the top, and then exhale, release that hand down to the floor. Let's bring both hands over towards the left side. And just kind of look down towards your hands, not slip your feet. Since we talked about rainbow mountain, we're gonna rainbow the arms back and forth between the two. So as you inhale, pick up that right arm first, and then rainbow the left arm second, and then cast them down to the floor on the opposite side. Good, inhale, left arm comes up first, the right arm will follow, and then you descend where you started. Good, continue this, inhale, rainbowing the arms up, and exhale, settle the hands down. Good, inhale, rainbow up, exhale over to the opposite side. Last one, inhale, rainbow the arms up, bring them off towards the right hip. Good, now inhale, bring both arms up overhead. This time bring your palms together, bend the elbows, and then splay them wide open. This is called Parvantasana, our seated mountain pose. We're gonna do a little pranayama, take a deep breath in. Hold the navel in and up towards the heart and hold the breath briefly unless you have any heart disease or think you might be pregnant. Exhale, let it go. Take a deep breath in. Suction up to the belly, hold, retain the breath. And now release. One more, take a deep breath in. Pausing at the top. Exhale, let the breath pour out. Now continue to breathe normally, but affirming my thoughts and energy rise up to touch the sky. And then go ahead and lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, flip the hands out and fan the arms down. Good, let's come away from that bolster, slide it off to the side, and transfer to hands and knees. All right, so now that we're on hands and knees, let's start to roll open through our backs. So push down through the soles, or not the soles of your feet, the front of your ankles, and drop the belly, and jump up through your chest and chin. And then as you exhale, start to tuck the tailbone, swoop in through the belly, archive the shoulder blades, and bow your head, chin to chest, cat stretch. Inhale, rolling into your cow. Exhale, moving to cats. Good, inhale to your cow. And exhale to cats. Let's do one more sequence. Now keep your hands and shins anchored to the floor, your core engaged, but step your right leg off to the right side. Plant the foot down to the floor. Flip your right hand open and spin open to stargazer pose. Now spread out your left fingers, flatten them down, and shine up through your right hand. Good, exhale, bring the right hand back down to the floor. You're gonna lift your right leg and slowly sail it back behind you. You're gonna flex the ankle and push through the heel of that foot. Now see if you can find your fulcrum of balance as you extend your left arm forward and out. Balancing on alternate limbs. Looking down, gazing at one spot, making sure your breath is flowing. Exhale, bring yourself back to tabletop. Good, inhale, extend your left leg off to the side, plant the foot to the floor. We're moving into stargazer pose by turning the left palm up and spinning it open towards the heavens above. Stay committed to this one pose, to each breath that you take. And then exhale, land your left hand, pick up your left foot, slowly sail that leg back behind your back. Flex through the ankle, dorsiflexion in the foot, and then pick up your right arm, stretch out through the right fingertips. Holding, balancing, and breathing here. And then eventually back to table. All right, your hands are right now located below your shoulders, but take them another handprint beyond. Curl your toes and lift your knees off the ground to downward facing dog, your Adho Mukha Svanasana. So in your Adho Mukha Svanasana, allow the pinnacle of the pose to be your sits bones. Reach them way up high, stretching long through your arms, long through your back, even if that means you need to soften your knees. The legs are the last thing you want to be straight in this pose. Gaze in the direction of the feet. Benefit from being upside down and looking at things in a new way. And then travel the feet forward towards the top of the mat, lifting your hands along the way. And until you're at the top of the mat, folding in half to your Uttanasana. Let the four corners of the feet root down. Let your calves be nice and firm. Let your kneecaps lift so that your quads are engaged as your hamstrings elongate. On your next inhale, slide your hands up your shins. Create some space between the two halves. Draw the shoulders back away from your ears. Look out with your eyes. And then as you exhale, crumble back down and in, sliding your hands down towards your feet, but with no intention to necessarily touch. And then inhale, splay the arms to your sides. Build yourself up to stand. Come to upward worship at the top. As you're looking up towards a lofty peak of a mountain. But then bring the hands behind your back. Bring the chin parallel to the floor. And then roll the arms in towards your ears and puff up through your chest, through your base ribs. So it's really a back bend in your upper back. We're not really cranking into the lower back. You got it. And then inhale, stretch the fingertips back up. Exhale, fold in half again, hinging from your hips. Uttanasana. Affirming nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. Inhale, halfway up. Hands slide up your shins, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Good. Exhale, forward, back down. Inhale, coming right back up. Upward worship. Looking towards the hands, Hasta Drishti. Exhale, thumbs to the upper back. Bring the chin parallel to the floor. Roll the arms in towards your ears and then lift your chest. So there's no tucking of the tailbone here, so the pelvis stays neutral. And then inhale, stretch the arms back up. Exhale, swan dive back down and in. Your Uttanasana standing forward fold. We're doing that half sun style one more time, sliding the hands up. Exhale, pouring back down and in. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to the upper back. Good. Inhale, roll the arms in towards your face. Puff up through your chest. Urdhva Drishti, looking up towards the ceiling. Inhale, arms reach back up. And then exhale, bring them down to the heart. Awesome. We're going to change it up now. Inhale, keep your chin parallel to the floor. Bring the arms straight up. Exhale, hands together, and you're going to fold in half. All right, once you roll all the way down, you're going to inhale, step your left foot way back. And it's okay to bring in blocks below the hands if you need them.
So if you choose to use the blocks, just have the hand set underneath your shoulders. Good, we're gonna lower the back knee, untuck the back foot, press down through the right foot to build up through the pelvic floor. When you build up through the pelvic floor, your hips will slightly rock back and your arms are gonna shine up overhead. Good, as you exhale, bring your hands down to the front knee, and then you're gonna melt down through the pelvic floor. You're just gonna let it sink, 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 sink down, lunging into that front knee a little bit extra. So the lunar eclipse we had last week was in the sign of Libra. The Libra is connected to the south node, and the south node relates to the dragon's tail. And we happen to be in the year of the dragon, according to Chinese astrology. So this is one of the dragon poses. In this pose, sometimes I notice my shoulders creeping up towards my ears. If you notice that, just let them loosely descend down the back. If it becomes intense, please back away and then sink back in, which I see some of you doing. So yes, listen to your body. All right, we're gonna bring the hands down. Find this block on the right side, bring it to the inside of the foot and heel to the right foot over. Now this may be a good height for you to sink down to your forearms. If it's not, turn the blocks up another level. If you feel like you can do more, turn the blocks down another level. And this is the low flying dragon. If you want to wing the right hip open, you can roll to the outer edge of the right foot. Slow, deep breaths. This is more of a yin pose. So if you go to a yin yoga class, this is one of the poses that you may find yourself in. You would steep in this pose for a period of time before going to another one that you would hold and stay in a period of time. But we're not going to be all yin. We're just adding these in since we missed the eclipse last week. I don't know, maybe Chrissy brought it up. All right, let's bring the sole of the foot back down. Heel toe the right foot over, frame that front foot with the blocks. All right, this is where we're going to change it up. We're going to curl the back toes under and establish our plank position. So we're trying to get the bones and joints stacked through the arms, elbows resting shoulders. You're trying to keep your thighs puffing up, your heels pushing back, your heart shining forward. Good, now land your knees and let's just roll down. As you roll down, rest on your forehead. Pick up each leg individually, lengthening through thighs, shins, feet. Glue the tops of the feet to the floor. Roll your heels slightly towards each other and feel the engagement all the way up into your glutes and buttocks. All right, so snake represents the underworld in the Inca civilization. So shoulders are going to roll back, press down through the pubic bone, and inhale to your cobra snake. Low, medium, or high, and then exhale, come back down to your brow. All right, lock in your legs, glue the feet down. Shoulders loop back, and then rise to Bhujangasana, cobra snake. Good, exhale, forward back down to the face. Re-engage your legs, re-engage your feet, your glutes. Shoulders roll back, third one, Bhujangasana. Good, now stay established on your knees, but rock your hips back into child's pose. And I'll let you choose your form of child. Maybe you want traditional. Maybe you want the extended arms. Maybe you want to be yin or yang in your approach. Active or passive. Regardless what you choose, close your eyes and form the relationship with your breath. Open it up just like you had channeled the breath in that first restorative pose. Here we go. Inhale, rock forward, hands and knees. You may find it more accessible to stack the blocks under your hands to get the left foot in between. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is curl your back toes under, pluck up that back knee. That's the way we started that previous pose. Good, now slowly land your back knee, untuck the back foot, push down through your left foot, fly the arms up overhead, and feel the pelvic floor drawing up and the hips slightly moving back. All right, so this is more of the active formula for Anjaneyasana. But then we're gonna bring the hands to the knee and we're gonna melt down through the hips to form that high flying dragon. You may automatically notice a pretty significant difference between the two sides. Take a mental note of that. If for whatever reason you need to back out and then sink back in, totally fine. Let's go ahead and release the hands down. Maybe bring that block from the left side to the inside of the left foot, heel toeing the left foot over and finding what height of blocks will work to sink your forearms to the floor or on top of them. Now you can keep the sole of the foot flat or you can wing the knee open. Yogi's choice there. Ready? Last week with the lunar eclipse, it was with the full moon, so it was a great time to consider what we needed to release, what may not be serving us anymore, what we may have outgrown, what may be outdated, something holding us back from living to our fullest potential. Maybe a fear. And with the solar eclipse coming up, it'll be with the new moon. And it's about setting intentions. All right, we'll come back down to that big toe mound on that front foot. We'll lift our elbows back up, bring that block over to the left side of the foot, and then we'll push away from the box,
to back up that left knee. Send the blocks away to establish our hands to the floor. Just to rock forward and to roll down to a prone position again. Lifting and lengthening the legs back behind us, turning the heels slightly towards one another, looping the shoulders back and lifting into your cobra, rising fearlessly, deliberately to what lies ahead. And then exhale, back down to the third eye. All right, 2 more. Inhale, rolling up, toning legs and glutes, strengthening our back, bringing prana to the heart, and lowering to the brow. Round 3. Good, and then exhale, rock it back to your variation of child's. On this to work as a counter pose from the back bend. Moving, meditating inwardly, withdrawing from the senses and any distractions. All right, on your next in breath, rock up to hands and knees. Exhale to downward facing dog, Adho. From your downward facing dog, slightly bow your hands away from each other. Roll your upper arm bones and shoulders away from your ears. Open up that space between your shoulder blades. Casually start to step forward. All the way at the top of the mat until you're folding in half. All right, root your feet. Inhale, sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands back home to your heart. We're going to change it up a little bit and do the cloud salutation. Now with the cloud salutation, your body's kind of limp and loose. Knees are soft. We're lifting the right wrist, left knee higher. And then exhale, softly drop the foot, descend the right hand. And then inhale, pick up your left wrist, right knee. Exhale, tiptoe down and ground. Inhale, right wrist, left knee. And exhale, descend. Inhale, ascend the left wrist, right knee. Exhale, release. It's kind of like a Tai Chi feel to it. It's good for the joints. One more to each side. It's like we're climbing up out of the lower world, back to the middle world. So hands to prayer position. Inhale, let your arms circle wide and overhead. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, lower back down and in. Inhale, step back to downward facing dog. Now from your downward facing dog, look at the space between the big toes and close the gap. Not quite touching, but not too wide either. Good, inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, you're gonna swing it forward and through towards your hands as best you can. Turn and plant your back foot and float your hands to come up. Good, so if you weren't quite in position now that you're standing, your left foot is facing the short hip side, and your right toes are just slightly turned in but facing the long hip side.
Now let your hips kind of turn so you're facing the windows. Let your arms float up shoulder height. Straighten out your left leg. Push into your left foot and straighten that leg out. Good. Rock into your hips. Lean over the front leg and bring that hand down to the shin and let your right arm sweep up overhead to triangle pose. So from triangle pose, establish your feet as the base of the triangle. Let the top hand be the pinnacle of that triangle. And then affirm internally, energy and joy flow down to me. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, lunge the left knee, warrior two. From warrior two position, really roll open through your left thigh. Keep shining your fingertips to the front and back side of the room. Now, as you exhale, look down and bring your hands towards the long edge side of your mat. And then turn your left toes to the corner of the mat and keep lunging that left knee. Go deeper into that lunge with the left knee. Once you turn your foot, you got it. So this crouching tiger pose is the closest thing I have to a puma, right? So we're gonna do the puma. We're gonna walk the hands now towards the right foot. Spin your right toes to face the corner of the mat. Lunge into that knee. Again, this is our puma. All right, walking it back towards the left foot. Good, just coasting back and forth. Side to side between the two different ones. You got it. Let's do 3. And then after you do that third lunge to the right, you're gonna spin the feet facing the front side of your mat. You got it? And then push off with your right foot and lower the head and the heart. Uttanasana. Good. From here, inhale, reach your feet, sweep the arms to your sides and up. Exhale, dive right back down. Uttanasana. You're standing forward fold. In and halfway lift. Good. Out and pour back down here. Inhale, take downward facing dog. From the inversion, walk the feet slightly closer together. Your right leg's gonna lift. And you're gonna bring that foot through as close to the hands or bring your hand to the calf and help to step it forward. Turning and planting the back foot, floating the hands to stand. And then again, checking your foot placement first and foremost. Lifting the arms up next. Lengthen out over the right leg and windmill down to triangle pose. Burning energy and joy flow down to me. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, lunge the right knee, warrior two. Gaze down the front fingertips. Feel your power, feel your strength. And then look down to bring the hands to the long strip. Turn your right toes to the corner of the mat. Lunge that knee more if possible. This will be our puma pose today. Walk the hands towards the left foot. And then again, we're doing 3 to each side. So just casually maneuver back and forth. And once you've concluded
3. Then you're going to turn and face the front. Springboard the back foot forward. Bow your head downward. Inhale, build yourself all the way up. And then exhale, hands come back home to the heart. All right, so we've worked with the snake. We've worked with the puma. Now it's the big condor. So I want you to have your blocks standing on their tallest height. And if your balance is really off today, don't feel like you have to lift your hands away from the blocks, okay? But if the blocks are gonna hold up the hands and are gonna be side below the shoulders, if we're going to stand on one leg, think about the foot placement. Where they're at presently may not be the most wise place to be. So let's move the left foot over closer to the right foot so that you can see the left toes are kind of shining in between that space between the blocks. Make sense? All right, step your right leg back. Bring your arms up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna lower the hands to the blocks at the same time, pick up the right foot. Shoot the right leg back, 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 back. If you need the blocks to help, you're already in the pose. But if you want to try coming to the fingertips, or maybe moving your arms to splay out like wings, become the condor. Bring your wingspan down. Bring your right foot down. And then come back up to scale. All right. Again, notice where your right foot is. Let the toes shine in between the blocks. Take your left foot back behind. Arms lifting. And then as we teeter forward, pick up the left foot. Take your hands to the blocks for support. Square your hips. And then if you want to try to fly, you can come to the fingertips first, or you can elevate the arms. This may be your challenging pose today. Bring the arms down and lower your left foot. Awesome. Maintain your hold of the blocks. Pick up your heels. Come to toe balance. A little bit of snap, crackle, pop through the knees sometimes. Walk your blocks beside your hips. Yeah. Lift your chest up. Maybe bring your hands together. Maybe bring the arms overhead like you did in seated mountain pose. Bring the hands back down to the blocks. And then bring the blocks back behind you and let them help you to come to sit. Your legs extended. Okay. Flex your ankles. Bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge down. And it's okay if you can't reach the feet. Right, we're really trying to keep the back as straight as possible as we fold down, so the hands can really reside anywhere. I think drop your back of your knees to the floor, turn your toes up towards the ceiling. Paschimottanasana.
Put your hands back as you build yourself up. And you're probably going to want one of these blocks. So hold one. Bring it in towards your core. And then squeeze your core back away from the block. All right, now take your arms out in front. Continue to squeeze the belly in. And you're just gonna roll down. One vertebra at a time. And when your head lowers, keep that block in between your hands and stretch the arms overhead. So the arms are tracking beside you. Now bend your knees. Bring that block back up and set it in between your thighs. Feel the arms and hands down beside you. Press into the feet and arms and lift your seat. Tucking the tailbone, squeezing the block, squeezing the buttocks. And ever so lightly and gently, don't lift your chin too high, but just a little bit away from your chest. So you're maintaining that natural curve in the cervical part of the spine. Exhale, lower back down to your sacrum. Pick up your feet, take the block away. Set your feet to the floor. Lift to supported bridge, which means we're now taking the block under the sacrum, where we're not having to squeeze the glutes as much. Flip your hands open. Yogi's choice to keep the feet down or to fly the feet up overhead. You can stay in bridge or you can form waterfall pose. So I don't know about you, but last week, it was hard for me to sleep. And it could have been the full moon, it could have been the eclipse energy, because the eclipse energy actually fell into the Shiva Shakti section of Vedic astrology, where it said definitely affected sleep. You may or may not have been affected. It's all really based on our charts. But anytime we do inversions like legs up the wall or waterfall pose, it's a good recipe for insomnia. Exhale, let's land the feet to the floor. Let's inhale, tuck and lift away from the block. Slide the block from underneath and then roll down to your spine. So pick up your feet and have your shins parallel to the floor. I probably should have shown you this when you were still sitting up, but I think you'll get it pretty easily. You know how sometimes when you were a kid, you would bicycle your feet in the air? Well, this isn't the bicycle, but it's similar. And this is called the train. And so what we're doing is we're becoming like a locomotive, right? And so we're not fully extending the legs, but we are circling the feet together. And we're doing something similar with the arms. If you're like, Robbie, I don't know what you're saying, just lift up, see what I'm doing, and then you can follow. This is going to represent that train ride with all the beautiful scenery between Ollantaytambo and Machu Picchu. Three more. And after that last one, hug your knees in to your belly and chest. And open your arms out wide and let your knees roll to the left. Take a supine twist.
cooling down. So something that we all took as a supplement to prepare for high altitude was chlorophyll. And what I researched and discovered with chlorophyll is it's not only a good supplement to allow the muscles in the body to hold on to the oxygen and to help the red blood cells with altitude changes, but they say it's actually really good for cleansing the liver and detoxing our gut. Twists are really good for helping to get things moving along during our digestive tract. So those deep belly breaths can be helpful as well. Go ahead, draw your knees back through the middle and send them over to the other side. The blocks are there if you need them. Sometimes if there's a big gap between the thighs, it's nice to have a prop in between. Sometimes if it's too much on the back, it's nice to have the knees propped on top of the block. Now I'm going to suggest a certain pose for Shavasana today, but if you'd rather do something different, it's your practice, you're welcome to do something totally different. But I would suggest taking the bolster underneath your thighs and knees, being supine on your back, and then discovering, you need the blanket as a pillow, or would you like to cover your body or put the weight of the blanket even over the belly? So I'll let you set up for that. And I'm going to take you through a guided meditation. And this guided meditation is like a shamanic journey. The only difference is we don't have a live drum. So when you get your body settled into stillness, see if you can use the realm of your imagination as if there were a live drum here, beating to a certain rhythm, a repetitive rhythm. And just as we were gazing into the mind's eye before, I want you to do so now. as if you were looking into a dark movie screen in the theater. And as I begin to tell you what to see and picture, hopefully this will get played out in your mind's eye. So with the repetitive drum in the background, picture the curtains opening and the screen revealing a forest. Some sort of woods. Tons of trees. Your curiosity is inviting you into that forest. And luckily there's a very clear, obvious path that you can take. As you're taking this trail through the trees, you start to notice the sunlight shimmering through the treetops, shining down on the forest floor to highlight moss, ferns, tree stumps, rocks, roots, all the things that we're familiar with on a trail. Eventually you come to this clearing, a giant boulder sitting in the middle. Take a seat. Looking, listening, to everything that's around you. You see before you a pair of eyes looking from a distance. Begins to come closer, closer, till you begin to see the shape of this animal. It doesn't have to make sense with the environment. It can be any animal. There's no fear between the two of them. Only curiosity. As your eyes meet, this peaceful union. Sit quiet. Listen and receive a telepathic message from this animal spirit guide. This animal nods for you to follow. So as it flies, walks, crawls, or swims away, you follow. Here, those repetitive drums starting to get loud. It takes you on another trail through the trees to the edge of a mountainside. Or there's an opening to a cave. The animal pauses and nods for you to enter. As you step through the threshold of the cave, it's dark at first, but as your eyes begin to adjust, notice there's a dimly lit light. Follow the light. See the light is stemming from like a campfire. And as you sit and do some fire gazing, notice a luminous being standing before you. This luminous being could be an angel, an ascended master, a departed loved one, or even your higher self. They hand you a gift. It could be big or small. Something simple or something valuable. Open and receive the gift. Say thank you. Exit the cave and follow your animal spirit guide. It takes you to the last spot, which is alongside the creek. As you look down into the water, see a very clear reflection of yourself, even though you may not look like you do now. What do you see? You see the reflection. Follow your animal spirit guide back to the clearing, back where you met. Say thank you. Imagine the curtain, that movie screen is closed. Drums fading away. Back in your body, back on your mat, back in the space. Breathe. Begin to breathe with a full breath. Start to inhale and create a morning stretch, taking the arms overhead, straightening your legs and pointing your toes. And exhale, hug your knees back into your belly. Roll to your right side body and rest there in the side fetal position a moment. And I want you to take a mental note of any vivid colors you may have seen. And if any trees or flowers or plants were extremely vivid and you know exactly what they were, that is significant, just like the colors. Whatever animal approached you, again, that is significant. Remember the animal. Whatever message you were given, significant to you, you alone. Whatever being showed up for you, significant to you alone. Whatever gift you received, no matter how big or how small, remember. And of course, remember the reflection you saw in the water. Your homework is to look all of these things up. To look up the symbology. And to see how it relates to your life. Because there may be a message for you found in that context. Now lift your way up to a comfortable seat. Keep your hands open on your lap. Reflect on what you received from this class and from that shamanic journey that we just took. Join your hands to prayer position at your heart. Down your head in that direction. And we all walk away from this practice being free and at peace from anything out of our control, anything imposed upon us by another, or any internal concerns or stressors of our own. Peace, peace, peace. And may we be an instrument of that peace. Thanks for joining me today. Have a beautiful Monday, rest of your week. If you want to join me for restorative yoga on Sunday, I'm going to be here 2 to 4. I'll be doing restorative yoga with a ceremony for the eclipse. In case you're having some intensity in this eclipse, we'll work on that Sunday. And that's it. Is there anything else happening in the studio this evening? I don't think so.